Make sure to check out our new podcast over at weedwonks.com, with wonks spelled WONKS. Weedwonks.com. We're also very proud to produce the Green Rush podcast with our friends over at KCSA Strategic Communications. You can find the Green Rush over at greenrushpodcast.net. This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 49 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, October 10th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 816 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Unfortunately, today we are leading off with news of yet another state-level ban on the sale of flavored vaporizers. This time it's Washington State, where the Board of Health voted 7-1 yesterday in favor of a 120-day ban on the sale of flavored THC and nicotine vaporizer products. Bart Shainman is reporting that the ban could have a sizable impact on Washington State's cannabis market, where 5 out of the top 15 selling vaporizer cartridges can be classified as flavored. The ban will go into effect starting today, which means there's a lot of vaporizer retailers who woke up to news that they are pretty much out of business. According to a new report issued by the Chicago-based Brightfield Group, the sale of hemp-derived CBD could be worth more than $23 billion just 4 years from now. The report also estimates that industrial hemp could eventually, once fully built out, net an average farmer somewhere around $40,000 per acre. By way of comparison, corn farmers usually measure their profits per acre around the $100 mark or so, if they're lucky. American hemp farmers grew an estimated 285,000 acres in 2019, a level that Brightfield thinks will grow 75% annually over the next 4 years, meaning we should be seeing more than 2.6 million acres under hemp cultivation by 2023. Don't ignore this storyline, even if your business doesn't touch CBD. Our final top story this fine Thursday is a pickup by David Downs over at Leafly on the growing popular practice of freezing freshly cultivated cannabis for later use as feedstock in concentrates or just to delay processing. The traditional route for curing freshly cut cannabis involves first trimming it of large leaves to be dried, followed by a closer trim after a week or 3 of storage in a cool, dark room. But today, you're just as likely to see a marijuana farmer cut their plants to be packaged up right away for deep freezing, which helps preserve it for later use in concentrates and oils. Freezing cannabis also allows farmers to delay when they trim up cannabis to be sold as flower, something that can help them both save on trimming costs while also giving them the flexibility to sell their cannabis when market prices are highest. An interesting read for sure. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 49 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Curaleaf is proud of its 3 retail consumer lines with Curaleaf Medical Marijuana, Curaleaf Hemp, and Yuku Craft Cannabis, which you can learn more about over at curaleaf.com, where you can also dive into Curaleaf the stock, now traded up on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol CURA. Curaleaf is now MJ Today Media's exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor, which we're pretty excited about. One more time, you can dive into all things Curaleaf, including their ongoing support for the Veterans Cannabis Project over at curaleaf.com. Big thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for the support that helps us keep our news lights on. All right, time for the Blitz. New Hampshire vaporizer retailers are sending word of thanks this week to Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker for the rush of border crossing customers coming from the Bay State up to the Granite State to buy vaporizers that are now illegal in their hometowns. Following Governor Baker's vaporizer ban, which covers all kinds of vaporizer products, flavored or otherwise, THC and nicotine, Massachusetts vape consumers were left to figure out how to best cope with the sudden unavailability of vaporizers on the market. Some, sadly, have gone back to smoking cigarettes, which Governor Baker said was no big deal because you don't die from cancer after smoking for just a few weeks. He really said that. But according to WBUR, those with the financial means have been trekking to bordering states like New Hampshire to stock up. That's great if you have the money and transportation to pull that off, but a lot of people don't, and they're kind of being left behind here. Workers at a Pennsylvania medical marijuana company have elected to unionize, becoming the first medical marijuana employees to do so in the state. Pennsylvania Medical Marijuana Solutions is a subsidiary of Vireo Health, and its 30 employees just agreed to join up as members of the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 1776 Keystone State. Congratulations to everyone involved in that. According to new numbers out of Statistics Canada, the gap between the average price of illicit marijuana and legal cannabis is getting bigger, as the average gram of legal flower is running around $10.23 in dollars Canadian, while illicit market options are closer to the $5.59 per gram level. Since last October, when Canada first passed nationwide adult use legalization, legal marijuana has increased in cost around 5%, while illicit market marijuana has gotten 12% cheaper. Vancouver Is Awesome, and that's the website, not the sentiment, writes about the current limit that's being imposed in the Canadian province of British Columbia of just 8 legal marijuana stores per licensed company, something that's not done in most other provinces. BC officials pitched the limit as a way to encourage smaller business owners, but Vancouver Is Awesome spoke with a number of legal cannabis retailers who detailed how the policy is negatively impacting the natural growth of the industry. Not a bad one to give a read today. Marijuana activists in Washington, D.C. broke out a giant 51-foot inflatable joint on Tuesday during a protest calling on the U.S. Congress to pass the Safe Banking Act, a proposed measure that frees up banks to work with state legal cannabis that's been approved by House lawmakers while being bogged down in the legislative graveyard that is the GOP-controlled Senate. The protest was led by local activist rabble-rouser Adam Eidinger and his group DC Marijuana Justice. I always love seeing this thing come out to play. Zip over for photos. Bart Shainman is back with another, this time with an update on the California storyline involving Cushy Punch, a legal and licensed marijuana company that's being accused of running a separate off-books business dealing in the illicit market. This storyline is broken in recent days, and Bart's story has some new details on the police raids that took place at the start of October. In those raids, police found and seized, among other things, more than 7,000 vape cartridges that Cushy Punch said was labeled for destruction. Our final top story today is an editorial by our friend Chris Crane, a founding regular and co-host of our weekly show Marijuana Today, and one of the top dogs over at multi-state cannabis operator Forefront. Chris has a long history as both a businessman and activist and is generally considered to be one of the more respected guys in our industry. It's with that introduction that I recommend you dive into Chris's story over at Forbes, which makes a great argument for why the solution to the ongoing vaporizer health scare is to legalize marijuana. Read this one. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Curaleaf, and to our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.